continue to leave that real water. It should just disappear from the scene and it should be shown that it's all taken me on mamish. We're gonna do the pizzle chaf and one on the sheet for to sell and give tzedakah. Lam natsayach mizmor David. Yan chadinoi b'yein tzara yisagev choshem Elohei Yaakov. Yishlach ezecha mikodesh v'tzion yisadeka. Yizkar kol men chisecha v'loscha yidashne seven. Eating l'chachel v'vecha v'chol atzoscha yimalim. Ranra v'shuasecha v'shem Eloheinu nidger. Yimali adinoi kol meshalisecha. Ato yudaiti ki Yeshia adinoi meshichei. Yanehu mishmei kodshe. B'gvuris yesha yimine. Eile v'rechev leile v'susim. Anachnu b'shem Adonai Eloheinu nazkir. Heima koru v'nafolu v'anachnu kamnu v'nasedu. Adonai Yeshia hamelech yaneinu v'yein kareinu. So what we do now, Sukkahs, after Chassidus, we started already. We did one part which talks about the mitzvah of Ali L'Regel. Thank you. So now we're going to talk about the two mitzvahs of Sukkah. So there's two major mitzvahs, which is in a Sukkah, Lulav and the Esrog. So, of course, there are many differences in halacha. And that you learn about in halacha classes, what's a sukkah, how when they have to eat in a sukkah, and all these details. But there's no question that both of them are considered the mitzvah of the day. Like Rosh Hashanah is one main mitzvah, blowing shofar. Yom Kippur, the main mitzvah is tshuva. On Pesach, the main mitzvah is matzah. In the time of the Beis Hamikdash, there was also a korban Pesach. Mora. In sukkah, these are two main mitzvahs: the sukkah and the Lulav and Esrog. Now, this is because Yandev Apich Chassidus, I've explained many times, what is the key difference between the way we look at things from a Chassidic perspective, or the way we look at these things without Chassidus, from a general Torah perspective. From a general Torah perspective, when you take a Lulav, you take an Esrog, you take a Hadas, you take a Rava, and you shake it, these are symbols. They represent certain ideas. And when we do this, it reminds us of this idea, that idea, another idea. We sit in a sukkah, it represents the booths that the Yidden had when they were in the desert. So it reminds us what happened then. And how is it Apich Chassidus? Apich Chassidus is just, it's not only a reminder, but it's also, there's another deeper layer to that. And in fact, that's the sort of the depth of it that Chassidus goes into, and that is, it's an actual instrument that draws down Hashem's light in this world. And in other words, when you sit in the sukkah and you're eating, this brings down a certain light from Hashem in the world. And when you take the lulav and the esrog and you shake it, it's no different than turning on a switch and the light goes on. But here we just don't see any lights, at least most of us. I don't know if anyone here sees light. You don't have to identify yourself. But there's a story with Ruzhin, or Bistro Ruzhin was a very big Hasidic Rebbe. And when he was a child, he was a very young child in class in Cheder, and the teacher was teaching them Gemara, and the Gemara was discussing this question: what happens if a person is lost in a desert or forest, and they're there for a few days? It came to the point where they lost the count of the day. They don't know what day of the week it is. Okay, so you don't know if it's Tuesday or Wednesday. That doesn't matter. But you also don't know if it's Shabbos or not. What do? So first of all, you're allowed to do everything in energy you need to do for survival because it's saving your life. So in essence, you're allowed to tear fruits off of a tree because you need to eat, and you don't know if it's Shabbos or not. But the Gemara says, nevertheless, the person doesn't know how long they're going to be there, and they're going to be living, could be week after week, and there's no Shabbos in their life. So they should take one day and designate that day as Shabbos and start their own counting. Then there's two opinions how to do that. One opinion is, as soon as I realize that I'm confused, I don't know what day in the week it is, so I start by designating the first day is going to be my Sunday, and the seventh day will be my Shabbos. But then there's another opinion that says, no, the opposite. As soon as I realize the first day I should designate as my personal Shabbos, which means this day I make an effort not to do anything, and the other days will be my Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Where did the two opinions come from? One says we go by the way the world was created. Hashem created the world, the first day of the week was Sunday, and Shabbos was the seventh. The other one says we go by the way other Mauritian had it. What was his first day? Shabbos. He was created on Friday. The first day in his week was Shabbos. So when he was a little boy, he lifts his hands and says, what do you mean you don't know if it's Shabbos? How could you not see if it's Shabbos? So no one understood like this. Just a child like asking a question. Later, when he grew up and they realized what kind of great tzaddik he was, or maybe some realized then because he was the son of a big tzaddik, he was the grandson of the Maggid and Mezrich, they realized that he actually saw a certain radiance in the world on Shabbos that you didn't see during the week. So it's like asking the question, what if you don't know if it's day or night? What do you mean you don't know? Look outside. If the sun is shining, it's day. Yeah, there you go. So it's the question, what's more important, the moon or the sun? So Shalom said, of course the moon and the sun. By day, who needs the sun? You know, it's light outside. You look outside, you see that it's light outside, so you know that it's day. He looked outside and he saw the light that's shining on Shabbos. We don't see it, but that's the way it is out there for Chassidus. Every move you make, the lulav you shake, the esrog, the arava, the sukkah, all this being done certain light. So what is this light and how does it connect to what's going on in the month of Tishrei? So let's turn to page 7. And we'll explain both the sukkah and the lulav. But let's turn to page 7. Specifically, I want to point to number 8. On page 7, number 8. What number 8? The words that are written there is Didan Natzach. Didan Natzach. Everybody knows this word in the Bible, Didan Natzach. But really, this kind of expression is also found in Torah. And what does it mean? This is one of the reasons that are given why we have a lulav, why we do the lulav after Yom Tov. You can't find it?
No, page 7 looks like this.
What?
I think we finished it.
What? It's not Sukkot? I gave you the wrong book. Do we have Sukkot books? I know we used it once already. Not the yellow one. The other one is the Seres Tshuva.
Oh, this is called, it's also green, it's just these ones.
That's it. We're not allowed to have the same color.
Yeah,
If someone is not going to mind,
this makes much more sense.
if you don't mind, after the class is over, to take these books that we already did, put it into that room there, so we won't have the confusion. There's more here, Rosh Hashanah, and then there's Seres Tshuva. We covered that already. So the Gemara says, gives the following analogy. And years ago, when people went to court, had a case in court, and there was a prosecuting lawyer, and there was a defendant, and there was no one, we were going to see which side is gonna win. At the end, when one side was the one that won the case, They would walk out with a spear. Apparently, that was the custom. It was called the spear of victory. It means, are we one? The Medrash says, on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, we're on trial. It's a court case. It's us, and the Satan is trying to find fault against the Yidden. And being that we won, so on Sukkot, we walk out with a spear. That Sukkot looks like a spear. There's two questions. One question, how are you so sure that you won? You should be sure. Second question is, I mean, in a court case, there's people outside. They're all waiting to see who won the case. They walk out with a spear, so all the people should know. Who are we convincing over here that we won? And we need a stick to show everybody that we won. And I think anyone could understand also the fact that Hashem chose a lulav and an esrog and a hadis and a rava from the thousands of species that there are in the plant kingdom. There's something, spiritually connected to these particular things that grow. Well, what is the mashal didan natzah? So let me explain. This is based on something we learned about Rosh Hashanah, and that was what it says in Tanya, in the 4th volume of Tanya. It was Siman Yud Daled, where the Alter Rebbe talks about what happens spiritually on Rosh Hashanah. The Alter Rebbe explains that in a way it's compared to a person that goes to sleep. Remember that, right? When a person goes to sleep at night, all the energy that was spent throughout the day, at night when a person goes to sleep, it sort of gets withdrawn back into the source of the nefesh. When we wake up in the morning, new energy comes out, and that's why when we wake up, we feel refreshed, and we feel like new, and we make a special bracha. We thank Hashem for that, but that's because the energy in the neshama that was spent, and that's what makes us tired and exhausted, that energy goes back, and new energy comes out. Spiritually, a similar thing happens. The Alter Rebbe explains that all the energy that Hashem spent, that he exerted of himself, so to speak, from the beginning of last year, every single day of the year, at the end of the year, especially in Erev Rosh Chodesh, all that energy goes back to its source within Hashem. And that's represented by the fact that the moon becomes totally hidden. The Alter Rebbe explains the moon is a sphere of Malchus. It's hidden because it ascends, it goes up and goes back into its original source. And then what happens on Rosh Hashanah, by blowing the shofar, the new energy comes into the world. This is the new energy that Alter Rebbe writes, never since the beginning of creation, this energy was never here in the creation. Which means it's not just new energy, it's a much higher, deeper realm of energy from Hashem, a deeper realm of light from Hashem that never existed before. And every year, Rosh Hashanah, it's higher and higher. So we say this year is 5,785. In different words, this would mean it's not just a number, it means that is the 5,785th level deeper than what was revealed in the world when the world was first created. Got it? Now that light brings bracha and all the good things. And when we do tshuva, we do mitzvahs, and we do all the proper things, that makes the light be more revealed, and it manifests in all the brachas that we're waiting for. If Chas v'Shalom person is not doing the right thing, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, so the light is shining, but it's not going to be revealed in those things that it's supposed to be revealed. So basically, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, that's what we're accomplishing. We're doing everything through our davening and all the customs. We're drawing down this new light. However, the difference is like this. On Rosh Hashanah, on Yom Kippur, good morning, what's happening mainly is that the light of the previous year is ascending in the source. Even though we just said it's Erev Rosh Hashanah, but on a larger scale, it really happens Rosh Hashanah and Yom 10 days until Yom Kippur. That the light of the previous year is mainly going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into its source of the spiritual realm. From Yom Kippur and on, the light starts coming down. Now it starts going down. And in order to absorb that light and to contain that light and retain that light, we have the mitzvah of lulav and sukkah. This is something which helps bring down the light. When we'll explain this later, we'll be able to understand why the lulav represents the damatzah. Now, there are two terms on this page. Actually, it's on this page and another page, which are related to this subject. I'm explaining this again from the Chassidus. You should be familiar with the two terms. One is on page 7, number 4, pnimi, which means an internal light. And the other one is on the page that talks about the sukkah, and that is, where is that? Sorry. Which one? 18? Yeah, page 18. No, not page 18, that's Spizin. Sorry. Here we are. On page, no. You know, this book is so complicated. Okay, page. Hope it's here. Should be. Something's wrong. Okay, the other word is makif. Where do we find it? Maybe we're missing pages here. I'm afraid we're missing the page. I don't have your book. In your book, you have nothing that says on top sukkahs. No, it doesn't say sukkah on top.
Oh,
No. Okay, so let's not spend any time on this. Again, so there's two terms in this. Put it down on the board. You won't have to keep looking at the paper. And we have a nice white board. The one is makif, mem, books, yud, bay. The other one is pnimi. Again, you're certainly familiar with this. Makif means a light of Hashem that encompasses, and pnimi is the light of Hashem that's internalized. There are two lights that shine from Hashem. One is a light which is infinite, and therefore it encompasses. It's not something that can be internalized. And the other one is pnimi, which means it's internalized. And the difference between the two, amongst many differences, is that a light that's makif, that encompasses, there are no details. Like an infinite light doesn't have any details to it. The light that goes in, that is something that is full of details, and that light shines in each place, and it's invested in each place according to the details of the recipient. But there are many examples to this. What is makif and what is pnimius? I'm basing it on that you're familiar with the general idea, but to give you an example, let's say there's two ways of being inspired. One way is where you're sitting at a farbrengen and everybody is singing and dancing and you're there and you're being inspired. That inspiration is called makif. Why? Because it's not tailor-made to anybody in the room. It's not something which depends on who you are and what you are and your level. It's something which is a general thing. There's a certain ambience in the room, a certain air in the room, a certain atmosphere in the room, and you're inspired by that atmosphere. When, for example, it's a teacher teaching, the teacher takes in consideration who are the people that are listening. And when you're teaching logic, you're teaching Torah, you're teaching something which is intellectual, It's something which the people have to absorb internally, and therefore that's something which will be transmitted to each person according to their intellectual capacity, and it's different. So Makib is a light of Hashem that's very general. It contains all the details, but it's all hidden. It's a general light. Pnimi is a light that's internalized. In general, the way Hashem shines his light in this world, first on the higher level, there's Makib, a general light. And then that gets broken down into details and becomes Pnimi. Each world is a different measurement of light. Each creation is a different measurement of life. In each creation, each species is a different measurement of life, and so on. To give an example, actually an example brought down in Chassidus, we all have in our homes water. You turn on the faucet and water comes out of the faucet. Well, where does the water come from? So if you ask a 3-year-old, they'll say it comes from the faucet. That this piece of metal isn't it magical? You turn it on and water comes out. No, it doesn't work like that. There's a reservoir somewhere, who knows how many miles away, huge body of water, and from there it comes to my kitchen. But it has to get from there to my kitchen. So the answer is this reservoir of water is who knows how big, and there are pipes that from that reservoir, some of the pipes go, let's say, to Manhattan, some go to Brooklyn, some go to Queens, some go here, some go there. And that pipe is also a huge pipe with a lot of water, and that can't go into my kitchen either. So once it gets to Brooklyn, there are smaller pipes, and that gets broken down to different sections in Brooklyn. And once it gets to those sections, there are smaller pipes, and that gets broken down. That one pipe goes down Eastern Parkway, one goes down President Street, and one goes down Union Street, and one goes down this street. And that's also too big to go into my kitchen. So there's a smaller pipe that goes from outside the street into this building, and there's a main pipe that brings water from the outside inside. And then from that pipe, it gets broken down to more details, and this one goes to the first floor, the second floor, the third floor, the shower, the kitchen, and so on and so forth. So basically, this is sort of the system, the way things work. First, they're there in a general way, and then from there, they get broken down to the details. And the same is with, give another example, let's say in a government. Every government, years ago, there were kings, now we have presidents, but the concept is the same concept. There's someone there that's in charge of the whole country as a whole. That person is not meant to be involved in details. If there's a street lamp that's broken on the corner, he should get involved in fixing it. That's not his job. He's supposed to be thinking about the country as a whole, all the states in the United States of America, everything. And then each state has a person that's in charge. He's called a governor. He's supposed to be thinking about the entire state of New York, the entire state of Pennsylvania, the entire state of Wisconsin, whatever state it is. He's in charge of the whole state. But then in each state, there are different cities, and there's a mayor of each city. What we're seeing is the chain of command breaks down from the top. It goes to detail. In an army, you have the commander-in-chief of the entire army. He thinks about things in a very general way, and then it gets broken down to the details. So this is really the pattern with which Hashem created the world. Like we have, it says in Tanya, Hashem created the world with the 10 utterances. And then from there, it gets broke down to more details and more details. But this is the way it works with everything. That first things are there in a general way, and then they get broke down to details, and the details to more details, and so on. So the light of Hashem for the new year that's coming down to this world, first it comes down in a way of makif, in a general way. And that's accomplished through the sukkah. The sukkah physically is a makif, meaning the sukkah is something which is not designed and not measured according to individuals. In the same sukkah, you can have all sorts of people. You have a big tzaddik, you have a big rasha, you have a smart people, you have a foolish people, you have short people, tall people, it doesn't matter. It's a sukkah is something which encompasses everyone and everything that's in this sukkah. So a sukkah and a building in general, Chassidus, represents makif. So it's something which is general, no details. The lulav and the esrog is all about details. First of all, there's 4 species, so already you have details. And then we know that each species, each one of the four within themselves have details, which we'll talk about a little bit later, what those details are. And then the mitzvah of doing the lulav and esrog, of course, generally speaking, all you need to do is just shake it. But to be doing the mitzvah in a better way, we have to shake it to the south, to the north, to the west, to the east, up and down, all 6 directions. And we know that the 6 directions, which are found in reference to Torah, which is, it's not just, of course, something physical, but it's all from the Torah. Hashem created the world, that there are 6 directions. And the 6 directions represent not just directions that are sort of physical, geographic directions. It's 6 different kinds of energies, 6 different kinds. It's based on the fact that there are 6 spheros: Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, and Yesod, and Malchus. So we'll see how the 7th one fits in. But generally speaking, it's 6, from Chesed to Yesod. So that means that the Lulav and Esrog was all about the details. So on Sukkot, the Sukkah brings it down, the light, the new light of the whole world. Like I said before, up until Yom Kippur, the light is going this direction. After Yom Kippur, the light is going in this direction. And on Sukkot, it shines in the world in a way of Makib. And through the Lulav and the Esrog, it comes down into the details of every single individual and every single part of the world and every person personally. Yeah.
So you were saying earlier the light of the previous year is being drawn back before Rosh Hashanah, but then how is it? It's continuing until Yom Kippur, like the previous light, or when? But we're also getting a new light.
Yeah, I haven't figured out exactly, but it does say both things, which means that in a certain way, no, the main thing of going up probably starts on Erev Rosh Hashanah. The Alter Rebbe writes, and through the shofar it starts coming down. But apparently, the starting coming down is still on a level that's not so much connected to us. In a certain way, the light is still going up, even though there's already something about the down mode began. But it's still going up deeper and deeper. And that's why every day we say, Shir HaMalis Mimamakim. From the depth, we're going deeper and deeper in terms of the light going up. And I guess the ultimate point where the light goes back to its source completely, I never saw this. I'm just saying this as there's something that came to my mind a second. You know, when a person sleeps, there are also different levels of sleeping. I forgot what they call it. REM? REM. So first of all, you fall asleep, but you're not in a deep sleep. If somebody sneezes, you'll wake up. And that is a deep sleep. In fact, they say the deep sleep is really the main sleep that gives you the rest. If you don't get that deep sleep, you can sleep for hours and you're still not going to be rested when you wake up. So it could be that it's something like that Rosh Hashanah goes up, but up until Yom Kippur goes up deeper and deeper and deeper. On Yom Kippur, by Ne'ilah, it reaches the deepest point, and as soon as Ne'ilah is over, it starts the download. And I didn't really answer your question, but what I'm saying is we're acknowledging that both things, we know about both things, but it must mean that something about the light coming down, even though it's still going up, but something starts, which is going to eventually lead the light to come down. So now looking at the sheet, I'm looking at page 7, right? Just to point out the words. Number 4, pnimi, that means the light is an internal light. In fact, it says that the word lulav is made up of 2 words, loy, leiv. Number 5, loy, leiv, which means you take to him, to the heart. And in fact, you'll notice that the way you do lulav is you shake it and you bring it back to your heart. If you see video how the Rebbe would do the lulav and esrog, every direction he shook it, first he shook it to the right and brought it back to the heart. To the left, brought it back to the heart. The lulav is connected to the heart, which means it's pnimi. This is something which has to be internalized. And then comes Shmini Atzeres and Simchas Torah. We'll talk about that maybe later. That's when the light sort of becomes totally absorbed within us and the world, And then the rest of the year, things sort of go into each detailed day, each detailed creation. But this is the beginning that sets the tone for the rest of the year. And every step of the game, we want to see that to begin with, on Rosh Hashanah is only the good of the light is revealed, and then in Yom Kippur and Sukkot and Simchas Torah. But each Yontif, we do it with the mitzvah of that Yontif. Rosh Hashanah, we accomplish it through the shofar, or we need to accomplish it through the esrog and the lulav. And by the way, that's one of the reasons why it says that you don't have to do this, and definitely sometimes it's not even convenient to do it, to bench the lulav and the esrog in the sukkah. Again, that's not an obligation. In fact, when you do miktzayim, you don't tell somebody, okay, wait a second, come, we're going to a sukkah, and you do the lulav and esrog there. By the time you get there, they'll be gone. You do esrog and lulav anywhere, any place. But there's a special hidur, it's an extra thing to do it in the sukkah itself, because the two are connected. Is the or makif, the light that's encompassing, coming down in the pneumius. You know, the schach that most people use here in Crown Heights is evergreen, which is very nice and beautiful, the green. The only thing with it is that little pieces fall down sometimes. So one time by the Frierdiker Rebbe, they were sitting in the sukkah, and they served the soup, and a little piece of the evergreen fell into the soup. So he said, this is the hamshach of the makif in the pneumius. The schach is makif, the soup, and what you eat, that's pneumius. So how does this connect to Dan Natzach? The Dan Natzach means, the Gemara says that which is greater, the one who makes the bracha, or the one who answers Amen? You would ask that question. What do you think the right answer would be?
Bracha.
The bracha. But the Gemara says, Gadol ha'ayna Amen, yesem en ha'mavara. The person who answers Amen on the bracha is even greater than the one that made the bracha, and gives an interesting mashal. It's like people that go to war and they're fighting, and then there's those the real heroes. They're the ones that bring this war to an end, to a victory. So again, saying Amen is like the victory. What does this word victory mean in this context? And then we'll see how it applies to this context. Victory means that until there's an absolute victory, that the enemy is totally defeated, and now we can live peacefully in this land, then even though there's a war and there's fighting, I forget how that expression goes. Some general once said, we won the war, we lost the battle, we won the battle, and we lost the war. Which one is it? Whatever. You can have a war, but you never sort of achieve what you really need to achieve, even though you might have won the fighting part. So those who bring it to fruition, so to speak, that's nitzachim. That's when you bring, even in our midos, what is the attribute of netzach? Victory. What does it mean, victory? Victory means that I am determined to carry out my resolution, and nothing in the world is going to stop me from doing it. Because anything that you want to do, usually there's those challenges, there's things that are blocking, there's things that you have to overcome. And the attribute of netzach is not to be weakened, not to be distracted by anything that's in your way, and you're going to have perseverance go to the end. That's netzach. So spiritually, netzach also means that the light of Hashem that comes down, remember we spoke about this in Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, that not only do we want the bracha, but we want the bracha to manifest physically in this physical world. That's the bottom line. Because of this bracha baruchnis, it is a tremendous advantage spiritually. The neshama will benefit from it, but down here, the person who needs a refuah shleima doesn't have the refuah shleima chas v'sholom. We want things to manifest in the most physical, tangible, concrete way. That's nitzachim. So basically, when it says that's the dan natzach, it's not just to show we won. It's something which, by having the lulav and esrog, it accomplishes the dan natzach. That's what makes it happen. This also explains Yom Kippur. Remember, I told you that on Yom Kippur, the custom in Chabad is that we sing the niggin of Napoleon's March, and it's based on the fact that the Alter Rebbe said this march, first of all, it belonged to a non-Jew. It was the march of victory of Napoleon, the French army, the French army was absolutely the opposite of Kedusha, and that's why the Alter Rebbe ran away from him. The Alter Rebbe said that he was a big klipa, and he was a threat to the spirituality in the whole world. And that's why the Alter Rebbe said that he has to be defeated. Nevertheless, what the Alter Rebbe did was took his niggin, transformed it into Kedusha, and it became a Chassidish niggin. And the Alter Rebbe said this niggin represents true victory, Didan Natzah. So why are we singing it? You can wish each other should be Didan Natzah. No, by singing it, this brings down the Nitzachon. It's the singing a niggin of Nitzachon, or in this case, having the Lulav and Esed, which Hashem says this is Nitzachon, this actually makes it happen, meaning that all the light and all the brachas and all the good things which we brought down Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur should come to fruition. It should land and come down the Gashmis to this physical world.
But women don't have to do Lulav and Esed technically.
Anything a woman doesn't have to do, it doesn't mean she doesn't have the benefits. It just means that it's accomplished through the fact that the men do it. And it's like being mitzi, but not that they don't have the benefits of doing it. And actually, the fact that women do it today, they do themselves personally, is because they wanted to do things in a more enhanced way. And those brachas will come in a more enhanced way as well, because they do it themselves.
So a woman, it's like to her father or her husband, and if they do it, it's fine. So on a raw halacha level.
Yeah.
So a woman doesn't have, like, let's say a husband or a technical or a father to do it for her, that she has to do it.
She still doesn't have to do it. First of all, whoever the husband is out there is doing it, so he's being mitzi her.
Wow.
Second of all, in general, the fact that men are doing these mitzvah is mitzi all the women in the world. Okay. In this booklet, there's another thing here, which is just an interesting thing. I'm sure it's connected to what we're talking about. But if you can look at page 14 and 15, this is maybe more connected to what we're going to talk about next. That Lulav and Esrog and Sukkah, the theme of this Yontif and the theme of this is Achdus, is unity. So look at this pasuk, Al Tvi'eni Regel Gaiva, which means let me not even have the foot of arrogance. It's meaning that it shouldn't even have even a little bit of arrogance. But if you look at the first letter in each word, it spells Esrog. Al is an aleph. Tvi'eni is a tough. Reish Gimel, Regel Gaiva. So what we're going to learn now, we're going to talk about this, is that we know that every yontif brings a new light into the world, and of course we're accomplishing things spiritually, but on another level, every yontif is supposed to do something in terms of my avodah. If I have a new spiritual light of Hashem, practically is going to strengthen me in a certain area of serving Hashem. Let's say Yom Kippur, it's obvious. The light we bring down on Yom Kippur will give me the strength for the rest of the year to do tshuva. The light we bring down on Rosh Hashanah will give me the strength of the rest of the year to have Kabbalah's Ol Malchus, to accept the sovereignty of Hashem, have this unconditional commitment and loyalty to Hashem. When you eat matzah, we know that strengthens our amunah. Which particular area of Torah mitzvahs will be strengthened through the mitzvah of Lulav and Esrog? One answer to that is unity, Avos. And we'll soon see, as the theme of Sukkahs from many different angles revolves all about unity. So number one is the Sukkah itself represents Avos. Like we said before, if it's makif, all-encompassing means that this is something which everyone could be in the same Sukkah, and everyone's united because they're in the same Sukkah. The Esrog also represents unity in itself. Why? How do we know that you're supposed to have an Esrog? It doesn't say anywhere in the Chumash to have an Esrog. How do we know this from? There's a pasuk. Let's look at the pasuk inside. The pasuk is here on page so and so. Here we go again. The page 6. The page is page 10. L'kachtem lachem, b'yom harishon, you should take for yourself on the first day, pri eitz hadar, a fruit of the beautiful tree. Look at Rashi on the bottom. This is from the Gemara Oral Torah. Hadar means hadar be'ilane, a tree a fruit which remains on its tree from year to year, and that is the esrog. In other words, other fruits are only there for certain seasons, and other fruits, and this fruit is there from year to year, there the whole year. So it's explained in the Chassidus. That's also Agdus. What does it mean that certain fruits can only be there in the spring, other only in the fall, other can only be in different seasons? It means they can only tolerate a certain kind of a season. What about a fruit that's there in the spring, in the fall, the hot, cold, warm, whatever weather it is? Again, the different weathers also represent different kind of energies, different kind of kaiches in the world. And the fact that this can tolerate all of them, not only tolerate, it grows out of all the differences. So in a sense, the esrog embodies and personifies the merging of all the differences that there are, as the esrog itself. One more thing before we finish is number 3. We know that the holidays are also, they have names in the Chumash that correspond to how it relates to the field. Sukkah is called Chag HaOsif. Where does it say that? It's in the Chumash. You take a look on page 11 and page 12. Let's first look at page 12. No, page 11. Okay, this is a pasuk in Mishpatim that's talking about. We should start with page 11. It's talking about the 3 Yom Tovim. Look at the top of the page. There are 3 holidays you should celebrate: Chag HaMatzos, the Shida Matzah, and that's called Chodesh Aviv. During the month of the Aviv means the spring, and like it says in the English, when the grain is ripened. So it's going by the field. The grain is ripened. That's Pesach. And then it says Chag HaKotzer, the festival of harvest. This is Shavuos, when we cut what's on the field. Harvest. And then we come to the 3rd one, Chag HaOsif, the festival of ingathering. It's the fall. Now we take everything that grows in the field, we gather it together and bring it in. But what does Osif mean, gathering together? Unity. So even physically, the month of Sukkot is identified with the inyan of ingathering and bringing things together, making it one. And then there's a beautiful mimer from the Rebbe Marash, we have it here in Hebrew, where he says that the lulav, the hadassim, and the aravis, besides the fact that you take 3 different species and you tie them together, each one in itself represents unity physically, because spiritually that's the energy that it carries. So that we'll cover tomorrow. I'm hoping to bring in a lulav and aravis and hadassim. You could see it and you'll see for yourself what it says in the Bible. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Welcome to the day, everybody.
Can I ask you a question?